ก่อนไปเราก็มีการประชุมปรึกษาหารือแล้วก็ระหว่างเดินทางก็ไปคุยไปด้วยนะครับว่าดูการศึกษาของเขาซึ่งเราจะไม่ได้ดูเฉพาะโรงเรียนแต่ดูการจัดการศึกษาแคทอลิกทั้งด้านองค์กรการจัดองค์กรของเขานะครับแล้วก็การติดตามงานการอะไรเนี่ยเขาทำอย่างไรบ้างฉะนั้นคณะศึกษาของเราก็ไป35คนนะครับแล้วไปดูสังคมมณฑลที่อยู่ใกล้ๆกันแถบเดียวกันทางฝั่งตะวันออกนะครับก็คือซิดนีย์เมลเบิร์นแล้วก็แซนเฮิร์สเป็นสังคมมณฑลเล็กที่สุดใน3อันนี้นะครับแล้วเราไปดูเป็นอันดับแรกด้วยแต่ที่นั่นเราเห็นการต้อนรับที่อบอุ่นมากนะครับพระสังฆราชมาต้อนรับเราเองเลยฉะนั้นพระสังฆราชมาแล้วก็มาให้ทอล์ก10 นาทีนะครับเกี่ยวกับการศึกษาของการศึกษาคาทอลิกฉะนั้นเราก็มีบุญที่พระสังฆราชมาต้อนรับเรานะครับแล้วเขาออกนอกโปรแกรมเลยตอนเย็นเราต้องไปทานอาหารภัตตาคารจีนแกต้องการเลี้ยงบาร์บีคิวเพื่อจะคุยกันต่อฉะนั้นบริษัททัวร์ก็เราเอาอาหารจีนมาสมทบฉะนั้นไทยก็กินของฝรั่งก็กินของไทยนะครับผมเซนส์ได้ทันทีว่าขนาดไปสังคมมณฑลแรกนะครับใช่เลยสังคมมณฑลนี้ก็เลยกระซิบท่านพระคุณเจ้าหลุยส์จำเนียนซึ่งเป็นหัวหน้าคณะนะครับแล้วเราได้บารมีของท่านนะครับที่ไปที่3สังคมมณฑลเนี่ยเขาต้อนรับอย่างดีมากเฉพาะที่ซิดนีย์นี่พาไปชมโรงเรียนทีม3คนแล้วมีคนพาไปชม1คนตำแหน่งผู้ตรวจการเขาเอาผู้ตรวจการมาเขาเรียกเป็น counselor นะครับแล้วก็พาไปดูคือเจาะลึกเลยแล้วอธิบายให้เรา3คนฟังให้เข้าใจนะครับก็เป็นการต้อนรับที่ฉะนั้นเราเลยเชิญชวนเลยว่าถ้าสังคมมณฑลแซนเฮิร์สเนี่ยจะส่งคนมาสำหรับการสัมมนาครั้งนี้นะครับพอกลับมาประเทศไทยเราก็ขออนุญาตจากคณะกรรมการเห็นด้วยเราก็รีบส่งจดหมายไปและก็แน่นอนเราเตรียมเอาไว้แล้วนะครับเขาก็ตอบรับมาเลยนะครับด้วยความยินดีคลิปที่ท่านจะเห็นต่อไปนี้เป็นคลิปที่เขาทำเพื่อสภาการศึกษาคาทอลิกประเทศไทยนะครับฉะนั้นเขาจงใจทำคลิปนี้อธิบายการศึกษาของเขานะครับแล้วก็ต่อจากนั้นก็จะเป็นส่วนที่สื่อมวลชนคาทอลิกของเรานะครับทำสรุปการศึกษาดูงานครั้งนี้นะครับเราจะชมคลิปดังกล่าว
The rich history of Catholic education in the Sandhurst diocese is interwoven with the people, the students, the teachers, and the religious men and women who are the faces of Sandhurst. For more than 160 years, Catholic schools have been providing education for families in the Sandhurst diocese. The first school was opened by the remarkable Reverend Dr. Henry Bacchus in 1853 on the goldfields of Bendigo. St Kilian's School would become the first Catholic school in the diocese. More would follow. Extending 400 kilometres east to west and 130 kilometres north to south, Sandhurst was officially declared a diocese in 1874. The first Catholic school in Sandhurst was, of course, established 2 decades prior. The history and events of the first century of Catholic education is well documented, but the last 50 years is a tale yet to be told.
The numbers in our Catholic schools are on the rise, and it's something that we have within our Catholic education system that people are looking for, and that gives us great hope for the future in Catholic education.
I've been at a Catholic school for 6 years and I like it because I get to learn all about God and Jesus and other subjects as well. We care about our environment to make the world a better place. Classrooms have changed since I was in prep. In prep they were enclosed and all the classrooms had walls, but now they're open so everyone can learn together. We care about our environment a lot because it's very important to us. What I like about a Catholic school is that everyone cares for each other and looks after each other.
My parents chose to send me to a Catholic school all 13 years of my schooling because we come from a very faith-filled culture and background. Being at a Catholic school, it opened up so many doors, there's so many opportunities.
In 2010, the Building the Education Revolution funding changed the landscapes of schools.
The BER funding has been significant in schools. Schools have always tried to build community, but with the opportunity to build new halls and gathering spaces in our communities, it's enabled us to bring the community to us.
I think these days we've got to prove ourselves to be justified of federal funding and so forth. With the funding now coming into the schools has been very important. And I think one of the greatest examples of that funding we've been getting is through the BER money that came into all of our schools and how well we've channeled that.
The movement from the industrial model of teaching to one of incorporating open learning spaces, self-directed learning, project-based learning, experiential learning has been a big change from the old standard model of the teacher standing in front of the chalkboard. The challenge has been for teachers to remain relevant and for us always to keep in mind the sustained improvement for the learning outcomes for the children in our care.
Teachers have been used to working in their own spaces, but now with the open plan setups that we have and the open plan environment, we can watch each other, we can learn from each other. That communication is going from 9 to 3:30 and the planning has been a real opportunity for teachers to work together.
That they offer my children and our children a wonderful opportunity and a wonderful start in life, not only just in a learning area, but developing them as people into future leaders, giving them a great grounding for their future and whatever might lie in front of them.
I like how it gives me a good sense of morals and values for my future and gives me a sense of community. The opportunities I've had at a Catholic school have allowed me to think more about my future, especially with the volunteering aspect and the ministry aspect, as well as going to uni.
I like being at a Catholic school because there's a lot of nice people here and it's good to learn about different things.
Having a leadership role in a Catholic school has enabled me to mentor younger kids and has given me the values and skills that has enabled me to become a captain of a local football team at my local town.
What I like about a Catholic school is that you get to be a part of the sacraments of reconciliation and confirmation and Eucharist. I like being a school leader is because we get to welcome new people into our school, and our school is a great welcoming place and friendly and has a lot of nice teachers and friends.
Stronger is a Catholic youth group that was created not too long ago just to bring together the youth of the Catholic Church to help strengthen their faith. Last year I went to World Youth Day in Brazil, which was an amazing experience just to celebrate my faith.
In the Catholic education, I've been shown a lot of good values and Christian values, which I think is important in this century because these days the generations are maturing a lot younger and sometimes values aren't as important as what they were previously. Being in a Catholic school has helped me decide my future and what I would like to do after finishing school, and if I get the opportunity I would love to become a Catholic school teacher after finishing university.
In 2006, the first flexible learning settings were established in the Sandhurst diocese to cater for young people who were disengaged from mainstream schooling.
The support of the diocese in developing those has been phenomenal, really, and they came about through the early 90s and the work of Dennis Higgins.
At the heart of Catholic education, the distinctive nature of Catholic education is religious education. It's how we learn about God. This religious education curriculum was formulated in collaboration with the other country dioceses of Victoria and the Archdiocese of Hobart. It's a very strong expression of teachers and families working together to endeavour to connect with young people and their lives so that they can see that God is relevant in their lives.
Catholic education is extremely relevant in the 21st century. I believe the way that we care for our students, the whole student, both spiritually, emotionally, intellectually, provides them with a very good basis to go forward and be productive citizens.
There are so many people that just don't have any foundation or anything extra in their life outside of school. And I think we're able to provide to our students just the extras, and it's often unspoken or unknown of, but they're the little things that make a difference. They make our children more grounded and rounded, I think. They give them a great it gives them a great opportunity for their future. And I think it's just that point of difference. As soon as you walk into a Catholic school, you can just sense the difference.
I know for my own experience that all our schools do try to make that connection between the school and the parish. And I think we do that in various ways, trying to have the schools involved in some of the Sunday liturgies and having the children involved in that as much as possible, and also just by the involvement of the parishes within the school masses as well.
I think at the core of Catholic education is an appreciation of the dignity of each human person. And education is about helping that person grow to appreciate their dignity, they're made in the image of God, and to grow in relationships, giving young people a sense that yes, they're disciples of Jesus, but that to be a disciple is also to be missionary, to live in the present, but also in their future life and occupations, that discipleship of Christ.
Catholic education is a wonderful gift, both to the recipient and to those of us who've been invited into providing Catholic education. I think most of us who come into the teaching role do it because we have a passion for working with young people and because we have a sense of the richness and the beauty of our Christian tradition.
I have been involved in education, teaching for over 40 years now. Been involved with children and families and hopefully having some influence on them is an absolute privilege, and I do love being involved.
We just really loved the sense of community that Catholic school offers in terms of gathering in prayer and liturgies, and the real sense of occasion and gathering together and a real genuine care for one another.
One of the strongest elements of the Sandhurst story is how the relationship with parishes, with the parish priests, with the parish communities has been so strongly emphasised through the Catholic Education Office and has been successful.
When we moved to Bendigo, we were looking for a school that would cater for our son who has Asperger's. We found it was the Catholic education system and the opportunities, not just within the school that the Catholic Education Office offered, but also the opportunities for our son to develop and get experiences such as going to Harrietville and being in family camps and family groups. but also the support in his education.
ก็เพื่อพัฒนาผู้เรียนให้เป็นคนดีมีคุณธรรมมีจริยธรรมมีหลักธรรมในการดำเนินชีวิตขณะเดียวกันก็ให้เป็นคนเก่งมีความรู้ความสามารถมีทักษะชีวิตในการดำรงอยู่ได้อย่างมีความสุขเป็นประโยชน์ต่อตนเองและผู้อื่นสถาบันการศึกษาต่างๆก็มีการเขียนจุดหมายวัตถุประสงค์ในรูปแบบของปรัชญาเอกลักษณ์อัตลักษณ์ไว้อย่างชัดเจนสิ่งที่สำคัญเราจะบริหารจัดการอย่างไรให้สถาบันการศึกษาของเราบรรลุตามที่เราต้องการ10 ปีที่ผ่านมาผมมีโอกาสได้ศึกษาดูงานการศึกษาแคทอลิกในประเทศออสเตรเลียอยู่2 ครั้งครั้งแรกเมื่อปี 2007 ผมได้ไปกับคณะผู้บริหารโรงเรียนมอวิทยาลัยไปดูที่วังกลัตตาสังคมณฑลแซนเฮิร์สในรัฐวิกตอเรียสิ่งที่เราได้พบเห็นก็คือว่าโรงเรียนแคทอลิกที่นั่นมีการบริหารจัดการที่ชัดเจนและก็บริหารโดยมืออาชีพแม้แต่โรงเรียนเล็กๆเขาก็รับสมัครผู้บริหารมืออาชีพครั้งที่2ก็คือเมื่อปีที่แล้วนี่เองที่สภาการศึกษาแคทอลิกได้จัดให้เราไปดูงานที่เบนติโกสังคมณฑลแซนเฮิร์สพวกเราไปกัน37 คนสิ่งที่เราได้พบเห็นคือผู้เรียนอย่างมีความสุขผู้สอนก็สอนอย่างมีความสุขมีวิธีการจัดการที่ชัดเจนทำให้การจัดการเรียนการสอนนั้นสำเร็จผลสูงมีมาตรฐานดีมาตรฐานสูงกว่าโรงเรียนของรัฐเป็นที่ศรัทธาเป็นที่เชื่อถือผู้ปกครองแล้วก็ยังมีการขยายตัวอยู่เรื่อยๆมีขยายห้องเรียนมีสร้างโรงเรียนใหม่มีการบริหารโดยมืออาชีพแม้แต่ในโรงเรียนของคณะตำรวจคณะมาริสมีโรงเรียนอยู่ในออสเตรเลียทั้งหมด56 โรงมีเพียง17 โรงที่บริหารโดยเบอร์เดอร์ส่วนที่เหลือนั้นก็บริหารโดยคารวาสซึ่งได้รับการเทรนได้รับการฝึกให้เข้าใจถึงนโยบายให้เข้าใจถึงจิตอารมณ์ของคณะและใน17 โรงนี้เบอร์เดอร์เควินซึ่งเป็นเบอร์เดอร์คนหนึ่งของคณะมาริสได้เล่าให้ฟังว่าภายใน2 ปีก็จะมอบทั้ง17 โรงนี้ให้กับคารวาสบริหารสิ่งที่น่ายินดีคือทางสภาการศึกษาแคทอลิกออสเตรเลียยินดีที่จะมาช่วยการศึกษาแคทอลิกของเราน่าจะเรียนรู้จากเขาแล้วก็นำมาใช้ในการปรับปรุงในการพัฒนาการศึกษาแคทอลิกของเราซึ่งนั่นหมายความว่าถ้าเราทำได้เราก็สามารถบริหารจัดการการศึกษาของเราให้บรรลุวัตถุประสงค์ของเราและขณะเดียวกันก็จะเป็นประโยชน์ต่อการศึกษาของชาติของประเทศโดยรวมต่อไป
จะมาพูดถึงบทบาทของสภาพระสังฆราชนะครับสภาพระสังฆราชเอาจริงเอาจัง ในเรื่องของการจัดการศึกษาคาทอลิกอย่างมากและให้ความสนใจดังนั้นเขาได้ตั้งคณะกรรมการการศึกษาคาทอลิกระดับชาติ National Catholic Education Committee ซึ่งมีภาระงาน2 อย่างครับ 1. เจรจาต่อรองกับรัฐบาลในเรื่องของนโยบายการจัดการศึกษาทั้งหมดแล้วก็เจรจาต่อรองในเรื่องของเงินอุดหนุนที่รัฐให้ความสนใจและก็ให้การอุดหนุนโรงเรียนคาทอลิกเป็นอันดับ2เป็นกลุ่มโรงเรียนอันดับ2อันดับ1คือกลุ่มโรงเรียนรัฐบาลกลุ่มโรงเรียนคาทอลิกและกลุ่มโรงเรียนเอกชนอื่นๆดังนั้นเท่ากับว่าคณะรัฐบาลเนี่ยให้ความสนใจกับการศึกษาคาทอลิกเหตุผลก็คือสภาสังฆราชได้ตกลงกันแล้วก็เอาจริงเอาจังในการสร้างคุณภาพนะสร้างโรงเรียนคุณภาพที่ประชาชนต้องการและขณะเดียวกันก็เป็นโรงเรียนที่มีลักษณะอัตลักษณ์คาทอลิกเด่นชัดดังนั้นสองแกนเนี่ยนะครับก็คือเป็นโรงเรียนคุณภาพและเป็นโรงเรียนคาทอลิกแท้เป็น2 อย่างที่ทำให้ผลของการศึกษาในโรงเรียนคาทอลิกออกมาเป็นที่ประทับใจของประชาชนอย่างมากความเอาจริงเอาจังในการบริหารจัดการอย่างมืออาชีพของบรรดาสังฆราชในออสเตรเลียทุกสังฆมณฑลมีกระทรวงศึกษาน้อยๆประจำสังฆมณฑลที่มีจำนวนบุคลากรพอสมควรมากพอสมควรนะครับมีความเชี่ยวชาญทางด้านศาสตร์การบริหารการศึกษาและมีความเชี่ยวชาญในด้านศาสนศึกษาพูดง่ายก็คือมีรู้เรื่องเทวศาสตร์รู้เรื่องความเป็นคาทอลิกอย่างดีเหล่านี้ทำให้องค์กรเนี่ยที่เรียกว่าสำนักงานการศึกษาคาทอลิกจึงมีผลกระทบต่อการจัดการศึกษาระดับโรงเรียนมากมายอีกอย่างหนึ่งซึ่งเห็นได้ชัดคือความเป็นแนวทางเดียวกันของทุกสังคมมณฑลในออสเตรเลียนะครับเว็บไซต์เขาใช้ร่วมกันเขามีนโยบายร่วมกันเขาช่วยกันทำชาร์เตอร์หรือธรรมนูญของสังคมมณฑลซึ่งแตกต่างกันทุกสังคมมณฑลแต่เขาช่วยกันเขาดูกันดูแลซึ่งกันและกันนะครับทุกสังคมมณฑลมีธรรมนูญของสังคมมณฑลทุกสังคมมณฑลมีแผนกจะเห็นว่าทุกสังคมมณฑลเลยนะครับมีแผนกดูแลให้นักเรียนคาทอลิกทุกคนในออสเตรเลียสามารถเรียนในโรงเรียนคาทอลิกได้พูดง่ายๆเขามีมูลนิธิการศึกษาคาทอลิกเพื่อเอาใจใส่เด็กคาทอลิกให้มีที่เรียนโดยปราศจากข้อจำกัดในด้านงบประมาณค่าใช้จ่ายแล้วก็ดูแลชนพื้นถิ่นหรือชนพื้นเมือง up origin ของประเทศแล้วก็ผู้อพยพคนยากจนต่างๆมีเป็นแนวทางเดียวกันของประเทศออสเตรเลียทั้งประเทศมาพูดถึงบทบาทของสำนักงานการศึกษาคาทอลิกของออสเตรเลียนะครับก็ลักษณะสำคัญคืออันที่1เขามีการเน้นในสองเรื่องคือ1ครูคุณภาพและเป็นครูที่มีอัตลักษณ์การศึกษาคาทอลิกและนี้เขาส่งเขามีระบบประกันมาตรฐานครูนะครับฉะนั้นสภาพระสังฆราชเนี่ยได้กำหนดให้ครูทุกคนต้องผ่านมาตรฐานวิชาชีพครูในโรงเรียนคาทอลิกก่อนถึงจะบรรจุสอนในโรงเรียนคาทอลิกได้ฉะนั้นมันเป็นอะไรที่ทำให้ครูคาทอลิกทุกคนต้องไปหาเข้าศึกษาต่อได้รับการอบรมสุดสัปดาห์ศึกษาด้วยตนเองออกมาจึงจะได้รับการรับรองมาตรฐานนะครับมี accreditation สำหรับครูทุกคนที่จะเข้าสอนในโรงเรียนคาทอลิกนี่เป็นนโยบายของสภาสังฆราชซึ่ง มากำกับดูแลโดยสำนักงานการศึกษาคาทอลิกนะครับเรื่องที่2คือการนำเอาคฤหัสถ์เข้ามาเป็นผู้บริหารระดับสูงเนี่ยจะมีความรู้ทางด้านเทววิทยาและการศึกษาคาทอลิกอย่างสูงนะครับถ้าจะพูดว่าอะไรคือลักษณะเด่นที่สุดของการศึกษาคาทอลิกอันที่1คือเป้าหมายชัดเจนงั้นครูบุคลากรการสอน 100% รู้เป้าหมายการศึกษาคาทอลิกและถูกเตรียมตัวให้พร้อมที่จะปฏิบัติเพื่อบรรลุถึงเป้าหมายการศึกษาคาทอลิกนั้นก็คือทั้งเป็นการศึกษาคุณภาพและก็เป็นการศึกษาคาทอลิกที่แท้จริง2 อย่างอันที่2คือการเตรียมตัวแล้วก็ดูแลติดตามการทำงานของครูผู้สอนทุกคนอันที่3คือการดูแลเด็กเป็นรายบุคคลเราทราบว่าการศึกษาคุณภาพเนี่ยจะมีจำนวนเด็กในห้องเรียนน้อยแต่นอกจากจำนวนน้อยแล้วเขามีระบบบริหารติดตามที่จะเห็นและให้เด็กเป็นจุดศูนย์กลางของโรงเรียนจริงๆมีโรงเรียนหนึ่งได้สร้างเป็นโมเดลการบริหารซึ่งเขาเอาเด็กทุกคนมาปรากฏอยู่ในชาร์ตเขาเรียกห้องนี้เรียกว่าบังเกอร์เดอะบังเกอร์เหมือนเป็นบังเกอร์สนามรบนะครับเพราะเป็นการรบพุ่งเพื่อทำให้เด็กบรรลุถึงเป้าหมายมีเด็กทุกคนครูในกลุ่มสาระรู้ว่าเด็กคนนี้แข็งตรงนี้อ่อนตรงนี้แล้วเขาจะเสริมอย่างไรผลการเสริมเป็นอย่างไรเขาติดตามเด็กเป็นรายบุคคลทั้งเด็กที่อ่อนและเด็กที่เป็นอัจฉริยะเราได้เห็นภาพที่ชัดเจนของทั้ง2 อย่างนี้ครับ
เคยไปเยี่ยมโรงเรียนและก็ชมโรงเรียนหลายแห่งทั้งในประเทศและก็ต่างประเทศได้มาที่ออสเตรเลียทั้ง3สำนักการศึกษาของออสเตรเลียที่เบดิโคเมลเบิร์นแล้วก็ที่ซิดนีย์ก็ใช่เลยเป็นโรงเรียนเป็นบรรยากาศของโรงเรียนคาทอลิกที่ต้องการจะพบจะเห็นจริงๆแล้วก็สิ่งนี้ก็ยังประทับแน่นอยู่ในใจนะหลังจากที่ไปก็ได้เกือบจะ1 ปีแล้วสิ่งประทับใจสิ่งแรกนั้นก็คือบรรยากาศคาทอลิกที่มองเห็นได้ทุกแง่ทุกมุมของสถานที่และบุคคลที่พบเห็นโดยปกติที่เราไปเยี่ยมชมโรงเรียนใดนะเราจะได้รับประโยชน์จาก2 สิ่งคือ1สิ่งที่เห็นคือบรรยากาศภายนอกแล้วก็สิ่งที่เจ้าภาพเขาจะพูดให้เราฟังสิ่งที่ได้รับจาก2 สิ่งนี้ก็คือตึกบรรยากาศของโรงเรียนคาทอลิกที่ประการแรกคือความสะอาดความร่มรื่นแล้วก็ใบหน้าของผู้คนที่อยู่ที่นั่นยิ้มแย้มแจ่มใสพร้อมต้อนรับยินดีต้อนรับและที่ประทับใจมากเป็นอันดับแรกที่บ่งบอกถึงการไปโรงเรียนคาทอลิกนั้นก็คือทุกครั้งในนาทีแรกของการต้อนรับจะเป็นการต้อนรับด้วยการอ่านพระวาจาและผู้ที่นำพระวาจาในแต่ละแห่งนั้นไม่ใช่พระสงฆ์ไม่ใช่ซิสเตอร์แต่เป็นคฤหัสถ์เป็นระดับผู้บริหารนั่นเองที่นำพระวาจาเข้าสู่การพบปะนี่แหละที่ทำให้รู้สึกว่าพระวาจานั้นสามารถที่จะเป็นพลังและก็นำทางในเรื่องของการศึกษาได้อย่างแท้จริงและก็บรรยากาศโดยทั่วไปคืออาคารสถานที่น่าจะมีป้ายคำขวัญป้ายคำเตือนคำสอนใจเนี่ยเป็นที่ประทับใจมีอยู่จุดหนึ่งที่จำได้แล้วเก็บไว้ในใจเสมอนั่นก็คือเก็บพระคริสต์เจ้าเอาไว้ในหัวใจของท่านและท่านจะเห็นพระคริสต์เจ้าในมนุษย์ทุกคนเอาภาษาอังกฤษสักหน่อยนะ Keep Jesus Christ in your heart and you will see Jesus Christ in every human being เป็นอะไรที่ ต้องพูดว่าใช่เลยโรงเรียนคาทอลิกต้องเป็นอย่างนี้คือนำพระเยซูเจ้าไปให้ผู้อื่นรู้จัก
เฉพาะปีที่แล้วนะครับปีการศึกษาที่แล้วเนี่ยโรงเรียนรัฐบาลออสเตรเลียปิดตัว12โรงเรียนคาทอลิกเปิดใหม่15โรงฉะนั้นขณะนี้เขามี 1,800 กว่าโรงเขามีแผนชัดเจนอีก5ปีข้างหน้าเขาจะเปิดอีก57โรงอะไรทำให้เขาขยายจำนวนโรงเรียนและขยายจำนวนนักเรียนในโรงเรียนแต่ละโรงตลอดเวลานะครับฉะนั้นเราจะฟังจากท่านวิทยากรซึ่งจบจากได้ Master of Educational Leadership จาก Australian Catholic University นะครับท่านเป็นรองผู้อำนวยการสำนักการศึกษา Catholic Sandhurst แต่ที่สำคัญคือตำแหน่งนี้ท่านเป็นประธานคณะแผนกฝ่ายอัตลักษณ์การศึกษาคาทอลิกให้การต้อนรับท่านไมเคิล ฮอปกินสัน
Your Grace, my Lord Bishop, Reverend Fathers and Brothers, Sisters, ladies and gentlemen. It is my greatest privilege as a Catholic educator to be before you today and address you as fellow educators. During our time together today, my main aim is to present how our Catholic Diocese of Sandhurst in Australia has put the church document Educating Today and Tomorrow, a renewing passion, into practice in our everyday actions as Catholic educators. This presentation will explore and unpack this through the lens of Catholic identity and mission, along with student learning and how we have developed and continue to have high quality, authentic Catholic schools in our Diocese of Sandhurst. The journey of Catholic education within Australia first needs to be put into context, as there have been massive changes to the approach, structure and focus of schooling over the past 200 years. When we look back, we can celebrate with great pride the enormous difference we have made in educating young people in our country. When Australia was founded by Captain Cook in 1770, it was a vast, desolate land occupied by the native Aboriginal people. When colonisation took place in 1788, the main people to arrive and occupy the land were convicts from England. Full settlement of white and free people did not really commence until the early to mid-1800s. Whilst basic secular schooling commenced in some places, educating for the young in those days remained hard to access, especially for young women. At least 2 Catholic schools were established in the early years of the 19th century, but neither survived very long. By 1833, there were about 10 Catholic schools across the country. From this time until the late 1860s, Catholic schools received some government assistance under a variety of schemes. But campaigns for free, secular and compulsory education would not be able to rely on government aid for very long. Between 1872 and 1893, every state across Australia passed an Education Act removing state aid to schools. This was a turning point for Catholic schools and for the Catholic community in Australia. Bishops and people of the time decided to persevere with the Catholic system. With no money to pay the teachers, bishops appealed to various religious orders in England and Ireland to become responsible for educating young people, especially in matters of faith. At this time, there was no funding to support these faith-based schools. In the mid to late 1800s, more and more schools opened, allowing access to students in the Catholic faith. These schools were fully staffed by religious, including our first Australian saint, St. Mary of the Cross MacKillop. She set about travelling to rural and remote areas to get women to join her order who would be faithful to the Church and committed to opening and teaching in Catholic schools and to educate girls, the poor and the underprivileged. Soon more religious sisters and brothers came to Australia, and the Catholic schooling system grew very rapidly. They were supported by local vocations and the founding of new orders such as the Josephite Sisters and the Good Samaritan Sisters. And together they shared the task of providing Catholic education in Australia with only a few members of the laity assisting. These religious orders, supported by lay teachers, have made an enormous contribution to Australian learning and culture over the past 150 years. Australia as a nation has benefited greatly from the massive influence of Christianity flowing from the Catholic school sector. A solid base has been laid for Catholic schools to continue to flourish in Australia. Despite tireless efforts by church leaders and lay people, bids in the late 19th century for state government aid for Catholic education failed. Growing resentment at this lack of assistance saw the formation of a Catholic Federation in 1911 to apply political pressure. The Democratic Party was formed in New South Wales at this time, fielded candidates for Parliament. When it failed to win seats, Catholic Federation fell apart. Efforts during the 1930s to gain tax concessions also failed. It wasn't until a post-World War II change in community attitudes that progress was finally made. The Australian community became increasingly tolerant of Catholic schools following World War II. The exact reason is unclear, but the unifying and maturing effect of the war effort and resultant broadening of Australian minds no doubt contributed significantly. During the late 1950s and early 1960s, Catholic schools in Australia increased their enrolments rapidly as a result of the post-war baby boom and a major flow of migrants to Australia from countries such as Italy, Malta, Lebanon, Vietnam and Sudan. Vocations to religious orders were declining, and still no government money was provided to Catholic schools other than minor assistance, such as the scholarship scheme in Queensland. It was at this time that Catholic education started to look for lay leadership to continue to grow. It was also at this time, in 1963, when a watershed moment occurred in Catholic education. It was Friday, July the 13th, 1962, when the auxiliary bishop of the Archdiocese of Canberra-Goulburn, John Cullinan, authorised the closing of 6 Catholic schools in the town of Goulburn in New South Wales. The schools were to be closed for 6 weeks until the end of term, and the 2,000 students were instructed to present themselves at the nearest government school for enrolment. This issue had been about state government insistence over several years about improvements to a toilet block at one of the Catholic primary schools. There was great excitement and furore as 640 young Catholic students were enrolled with considerable professionalism and goodwill. But there was no room for the remainder of the other students, as the other schools were full. This was in order to make the point for state-based funding, as Catholics had a rightful place in providing a choice for parents in where and how their children were to be educated. Parental choice remains a critical element of Catholic schooling today. As the decades rolled on, more and more funding became available, allowing schools to grow and expand in ways that the religious of those early years would never have thought imaginable. Their dedication, perseverance in the harshest of conditions truly displayed their passion for teaching and for Catholic education. Our schools must never forget what these courageous pioneers of education encountered and endured, which has led us to where we are now. Our Catholic schools of today are thriving centres of evangelisation and learning, which I will detail more about as I move through this presentation. With the promulgation of Vatican II, how Catholic education was to occur in Australia started to change. For the first time, lay people started to teach in Catholic schools, and a number of religious staff began leaving not only the Catholic school system, but also religious orders. This came as a surprise for many, and as a system, they were not prepared for what was to come. The teaching of the Catechism went out and was not really replaced with anything of significance. It was like the pendulum had swung totally the other way, and there would need to be some tough conversations ahead to allow the status quo to return. It would be a number of years before the bishops of Australia could reclaim their rightful authority to ensure that a rigorous and engaging quality Catholic curriculum was to occur. As the Catholic Church was, and still is today, the largest non-government sector to educate students in Australia, clear and careful guidelines needed to be in place for us to flourish as a system. As a Catholic system, we looked to and were guided by a number of documents that were devised and delivered by the Sacred Congregation for Catholic Education and other authorities. These documents caused us as Catholic educators to pause and to reflect upon our true mission and to help ensure that we were being true to our own vision and mission. As these documents were written in a way that allowed a lay audience to fully immerse themselves and to engage with the text, they had a profound impact upon us as educators. It is inherent upon each one of us to never forget our core purpose in understanding why we have Catholic schools and in understanding the sacred gift that has been entrusted to us as Catholic educators. For our full mission to be realised, we must never lose sight of where we have been and the precious legacy that has been left to us. The documents that have guided us in our journey include 1964, Lumen Gentium, 1965, Gaudium et Spes, 1965, Gramissimus Educationis, 1977, The Catholic School, 1982, Lay Catholics in Schools, Witnesses to Faith, 1988, The Religious Dimension of Education in a Catholic School, 1999, The Catholic School on the Threshold of the Third Millennium, 2006, The Holy See's Teaching on Catholic Schools, 2007, Catholic Schools at a Crossroads, 2014, Instrumentum Laboris, Educating Today and Tomorrow, a Renewing Passion. So what does the picture of Catholic education look like today in 2016? I'd like to share some facts and figures with you. In Australia, we have a National Catholic Education Commission whose task it is to negotiate funding and policy agreements at the government level. Whilst education is highly valued in Australia, the role of Catholic education and funding is a constant matter for attention. There are political parties such as the Greens who have policies that would see funding ceased to Catholic schools and would have us shut down. Fortunately, they are a minority party and we are in no direct threat at this point in time. It must be said that through this we must be constantly alert to ensure that we are high in our quality and that we are authentically Catholic in our approach. We have to be witnesses to our Catholic faith and not just be good schools with good values. This style of education can be accessed freely via the government schooling system. Our data tells us that in 2014, Catholic school parents paid $3.1 billion to support having their children educated. This significant amount of money needs and demands of us a high quality and effective response as educators. Not only is the number of schools across the country growing rapidly, but so are the numbers of students attending, and therefore the number of staff required to support these schools. 70 new Catholic schools are planned across the country over the next 5 years, which requires major planning and investment. Whilst these aspects of growth are critical, we must never lose sight of ensuring that those who work in our Catholic schools understand the story and have a Catholic literacy that enables them to articulate what it is that makes us unique and how we are inspired to engage fully with human potential inspired by the Catholic story. We constantly need to remember that Catholic education provides a balanced and holistic education, and more than ever now, we're ensuring that a safe environment in which all our young people can learn and thrive. We must be diligent in guiding our students to develop a strong moral compass that assists them to make wise choices when confronted by a world that would try to destabilise what we know to be the gospel values that keep us grounded. In our secularised world of 2016, this is a tough battle. The external influences that young people are exposed to on a daily basis give cause for us to be ever diligent in supporting them to become grounded in their own journey so they can make wise and good choices about behaviour and responses. The rich diversity of students who make up our student population are embraced and welcomed as part of our Catholic story. It is exciting that more than ever the number of Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander students continues to grow in our schools. Previously, access to schooling and affordability were a real issue for some minority groups. Our understanding of Catholic social teaching and driven by the moral imperative has enabled a more holistic view of who we are here to serve, as well as why we are here to serve. Daniel O'Leary reminds us that the task of the educator is to bring all students to the edge of their own divine responsibilities for recognising the divine everywhere. For every experience is a threshold to God. The makeup of our schools includes an increasing number of other than Catholic students and their families. Whilst we embrace and fully welcome these families, the challenge is there for us not to water down what it is that we believe in and stand for. More than ever, we need a clear articulation of our vision and mission as Catholic schools, and we need for that to be fully understood and appreciated in the wider context. We must also always recognise education as a common good. Catholic schools in Australia can no longer expect that families will just enrol their children because it's a Catholic school. Within the non-government sector, there are other faith-based schools who are vying for the opportunity to educate young people. Therefore, all of us in Catholic education need to not only know what we stand for, but we must be able to clearly articulate it as well. As inclusive places, our schools now proudly have an ever-growing number of students with a disability. These students have a rightful place, both legally and morally, to have a mainstream education. Our teachers have to access and support via training and adaptive techniques to ensure that they are best placed to give these young people with a disability every opportunity that they deserve. Our schools are very inclusive in nature and open to the diversity that new learners of this century bring. In particular, in Australia, we are seeing a dramatic rise in the number of students who are diagnosed at varying levels on the spectrum for autism. Students are enrolling in unprecedented numbers in the past years. We must support our teachers as to how to most appropriately support these students. The other major issue we are facing is with our secondary school students, where there has been an alarming rise in the number of students who are dealing with mental health issues. This has been both disturbing and confronting as schools adjust to how to best meet the needs of these students in a way that is respectful and inclusive. In being true to our vision and mission, we must know how to support these students and their families. Today, 1 in 5 students in Australia are now educated in the Catholic system, which represents a significant percentage of the population. This brings with it the responsibility of finding quality teachers who understand the Catholic context and can be role models in the guidance of our young people. Without funding, we simply could not operate as a system in today's world. More than ever, the government are providing recurrent per capita funding for students to be educated in Australia. Whilst there is a basic amount, regardless of where the student is being schooled, the Catholic system still falls behind in total funding, and this requires the support from parents to allow education to occur. This funding shortfall is made up through parents having to pay school fees for their children to be educated. One caveat around this is that any child whose family cannot afford to pay fees will never ever be denied a Catholic education. And so I move to a little about the Sandhurst story. There are 22 dioceses in Australia that range from very isolated areas of Australia to highly populated areas in archdioceses such as Sydney and Melbourne. You will see on the map of Australia with the dots on the screen that where there are no dots is where there are no people living in Australia. There are 4 dioceses in Victoria, one of which is Sandhurst. In Sandhurst Diocese, which was founded in the mid-1800s, schools were started by religious orders such as the Sisters of St. Joseph, the Presentation Sisters, the Sisters of Mercy, the Christian Brothers, and the Marist Brothers, among many. Today, we have 57 schools across our regional diocese. 42 schools are primary schools, 12 are secondary colleges, and we have 1 combined primary and secondary school. We also run 2 alternative school settings for young, disengaged students who have been expelled from every other school system. Our schools range in size from 18 students in a very remote part of the diocese to nearly 2,000 students at Catholic College in Bendigo. All of our schools are staffed by lay principals and lay teachers. Our schools are either full or close to full, and in the next few years we are looking to build at least 4 to 5 new schools across the diocese. So why is this? A number of families continue to seek quality schooling for their children. The Catholic system is seen as the system that can deliver on this. Our schools have never looked better, and the results that we achieve, both academically and in developing well-rounded young people who enter society in a positive and engaging way, demonstrates we are achieving the goals that we set ourselves. Like all systems, we are tested at times, whether it be around funding or other changes. It's about how we respond that's important. In Australia, the Catholic Church in recent times has been rocked by the sexual abuse in the church scandal. The Royal Commission that the government called has put a spotlight on what has been a very sad and tragic history of cover-ups and abuse. There was potential for this scandal to damage the image of our Catholic schools, but this does not seem to have been the case. Families are not seeing that the sins of the past are connected with the Catholic schools of today. Our schools are full and focusing their energy on being the best that they can be. The role of our teachers in schools is to remain focused on their core business of learning and teaching in the best possible way within the context of the Catholic story. As John Hattie from the University of Auckland reminds us, it is the teacher that makes the difference. Our teachers need to be quality teachers, giving their best every single day. The challenge is how. We need people who know and understand our context as Catholic educators and know how to appropriately nurture our young people. This is one of the most critical aspects that will be part of our future. How do we maintain the quality of Catholic teaching and not just water down our approach? What measures do we ensure are in place so we do not find ourselves in a situation like countries such as Belgium or the Netherlands, where whilst they call themselves Catholic, they are barely recognisable in the same way that we have known Catholic schools to be. Their Catholic education system has become secularised to the point they cannot say prayers or have religious icons present, and their clergy are paid for by the government. We cannot afford to lose our Catholic identity whilst we are the stewards of education. This can be hard and we must be attentive to it. How is this done when our schools are only run by the laity? Our lay men and women who work in our schools are fully committed to leading the learning in a way that ensures we are well placed to pass on the message as witnesses to Christ. They attend professional learning opportunities, specifically in the area of religious education, as well as other subject-specific areas. They are attentive to their own personal spirituality through attendance at things like retreats. They participate in formal study that gives them background knowledge to teach religious education with authority and authenticity. Our teachers need to have the understanding of church teachings, including aspects of doctrine and dogma. They need to know to explicitly teach the religious education curriculum, and they need to be able to explain to the students the reasoning behind the teachings of the church. Whilst not knowing all of the elements of the Catechism of the Catholic Church, teachers need to know where and how they can find this information so they can appropriately guide and nurture students in their faith, knowledge and development. It is not just about how to appropriately deal with situations where they are tempted or challenged around their lives as young Catholics. This is hard for teachers, as Pope Francis would say, each educator must constantly face a situation which provides us with new challenges, which are sometimes difficult for us to understand. It is about how we balance giving our students the integral education they need while supporting them as they discover their personal freedom as emerging young adults. As we are reminded in documents such as Educating Today and Tomorrow, A Renewing Passion, that although cultural contexts may vary, there are a number of quality hallmarks that Catholic schools must be able to ensure. Respect for individual dignity and uniqueness, a wealth of opportunities for young people to grow and develop, a balanced focus on cognitive, affective, social, professional, ethical, and spiritual aspects. Encouragement for every pupil to develop their talents in a climate of cooperation and solidarity. The promotion of research as a rigorous commitment towards truth. Respect of ideas, openness to dialogue, the ability to interact and work together in a spirit of freedom and care. For the most part, the churches and parishes across our country are in decline. It is often only the elderly who are left attending church on a regular basis. Families still see the church as a place for sacraments such as baptism, confirmation, and marriage. For the majority of the population who identify as Catholic, attendance in a church setting would not be common. Every 5 years, our federal government conducts a census across the country. The figures are showing a rapid decline in those identifying as belonging to any religion, including Catholic. An ever-increasing number of people are identifying as being of no religion at all. How is it then that the Catholic school numbers keep growing and the families are seeking a Catholic education? Firstly, our Catholic schools are fundamentally good schools. The students enrolled in these schools are getting a quality education that allows them to go on and become good citizens who can actively enhance society through work and positive relationships. So if families are not attending church, why are our schools so popular? A significant part of this is that values and gospel message that come through witness in a Catholic school is something that all families strive for their children. Education has to be about choice, and parents choose Catholic education as it reminds them of their schooling, and they are also trusting that the teachers will model Christ-like values that we know and hold dear. The Catholic identity of the school is paramount to it being a good school. The Catholic identity has to manifest itself through actions, symbols, in a way that is unapologetic. Catholic schools must be more than good schools with good values. There are many schools that are like that. We have to nurture our Catholic identity and ensure that all who make up part of our Catholic school community understand and embrace what it is that we are endeavouring to provide. In an increasingly secularised world, we must not only protect what is right, but we must stand up for what Jesus taught us and ensure that this is proactively modelled to all. It would be so easy for a school to lose its Catholicity, as there are many who would say we no longer have a relevant place on the educational landscape. Many of our schools are seeking to re-engage and reconnect with their Catholic identity through the charisms of religious orders who founded these schools. They are using Catholic identity markers to unashamedly ensure that anyone who is in and around the Catholic school are enveloped into a sense of what it means to be Catholic. What do we mean by Catholic identity markers? They are signs and symbols that connect the past to the present and will guide us into the future. These Catholic identity markers are not just statues of saints or relics from founding orders of religious. They are living signs, symbols, and reminders of the gospel message alive in our world today. They may take the form of a sculpture, a labyrinth, a prayer garden, or quotes from the Bible that are enshrined into the wall as constant reminders that reflect back upon our Christian journey together. I'd like to now share with you a short clip for a school that I went to inspect to see how their Catholic identity was going. The students in this secondary college volunteered to put together a Catholic expo showing what it is that they do that makes them authentically Catholic.
Never
Even though the times have changed and the religious orders are no longer part of our teaching community, the laity through the teachers have embraced this privileged honour of being stewards of the gospel message and sharing this with the young students in their care. As custodians of the story, teachers understand the enormity and privilege of the task that they have been called to perform. Our Catholic schools must be vibrant learning communities where the Holy Spirit is present. This should be evidenced through a welcoming, inclusive environment where all seek to be and to belong. The environment should be permeated by the essence of gospel values, alive in word and deed. All teachers in Catholic schools in Australia today have to be accredited to teach in a Catholic school or accredited to teach religious education in a Catholic school. This is in direct response to a lack of teacher training opportunities for undergraduates in the area of religious education. Even though our Catholic universities are providing teacher training, that does not necessarily require the students to undertake any formal religious education units. To gain accreditation, teachers are required to undertake rigorous training in spirituality and theology so they can authentically pass on what they need to their students. The courses are completed in conjunction with tertiary institutions, including universities. A number of staff also go on to do formal study in religious education and/or theology at a master's level. As a Catholic Education Office, not only do we promote these opportunities, but we financially support teachers through paying 1/3 of the course costs to make it affordable and accessible. In the Sandhurst Diocese, we are delighted at the large number of teachers who actively seek to gain accreditation. Some of the graduate teachers who are enrolled at Australian Catholic University already have studied units in religious education, and that enables them to be automatically accredited. This initiative of accreditation on behalf of the Bishops of Australia has been significant in ensuring the quality of our teachers in the area of religious education is the best that it can be. We also have Catholic Education Office staff who run fully accredited courses in the Ministry of Catholic Schooling. The teachers study over several weekends in face-to-face style lecturing and are required to submit assignments to help demonstrate their levels of understanding. The teachers are very appreciative of these opportunities and enrol in large numbers to ensure they have the best information required to be fully equipped to be quality and effective teachers in the classroom. This initiative has been core to our work in ensuring the theology and ecclesiology that teachers need to understand is being provided to them. So how is it that our schools can be flourishing and remain committed to the vision and mission that we strive to serve? Remaining central to our core Catholic beliefs has at the forefront of all we strive to achieve, if we are to be truly authentic as Catholic educators. If this does not happen, then we will cease to exist as an entity that is both authentic and engaging in passing on the gospel message through Catholic education. The Vatican document from the Congregation for Catholic Education, Instrumentum Laboris, Educating Today and Tomorrow, a Renewing Passion, is yet another guiding sign of the importance of the work that we undertake. Knowing that recent popes, including Pope Benedict XVI and Pope Francis, value and treasure the missionary and evangelising work of Catholic education, is critical to us remaining legitimate as a system of schools in Australia and indeed across the world. In 2007, the Bishops of New South Wales and Australia collaboratively put together a pastoral letter entitled Catholic Schools at a Crossroads. This hallmark publication was a call to those involved in any way in Catholic education in Australia to dialogue on what makes our schools authentically Catholic. How do we know we have quality Catholic schools that are really centres for new evangelisation? What work is being undertaken to ensure that religious teachings, doctrine, doctrine and catechesis are held as fundamental pillars of what we stand for? What evidence do we have that measures both the knowledge being taught as well as trying to gauge the values that are being embedded? The Bishops of Australia were wanting some certainty that the religious education curriculum was rigorous and that students were being exposed to sound church teaching and had an understanding of the doctrinal aspects that underpin a quality Catholic curriculum. Their pastoral letter stated, "The Catholic school system is one of the jewels of the crown of the Catholic community." A beautiful expression, jewels of the crown of the Catholic community in our region, with few parallels overseas. It has provided high quality education to generations of young Australians and has been a major arm of the Church's engagement with youth. Through our schools, many have also been positively affected. As the principal pastors of the Diocese of New South Wales and ACT, we wish to acknowledge the achievements of those who have built and served our school system, religious and lay staff, as well as parents and parish communities, and to record the gratitude of the Church for this. We also acknowledge the significant contribution of successive governments and the wider community to our schools. We're encouraged by the confidence that has been placed in Catholic schools. We believe that trust has been deserved. Catholic schools have contributed to the whole community through educating a significant proportion of its young people, through offering a distinctive vision and values, and through complementing the government school system and enabling choice and diversity in education. The roles and responsibilities of Catholic schools have changed over the years. Most of the schools were established in the 19th and early 20th centuries to assist poor families to educate their children and to pass on the Catholic faith and practices in a sometimes hostile social context. By the mid-20th centuries, there were high rates of practice of the faith among Catholic families. Surrounding culture was largely Christian, and so much of the faith was transmitted outside of the school. In the early 21st century, we find that demographic and economic change have meant the poor are no longer overrepresented in our schools, although recent migrants and refugees often are. While our school leaders try to ensure that no child is denied enrolment due to inability to pay school fees, we recognise the financial stress and other factors that press many Catholic families to look elsewhere for schooling. Many of our young people now have little or no connection with the faith or the church outside their school. Furthermore, many other than Catholic families now entrust their children to Catholic schools. Thus, while our schools continue to embrace their traditional responsibility for religious and other education, they now have a different mix of students and less support for their specifically religious mission from outside school than they had in the past. The surrounding culture and its powerful agents such as the media and new technologies are also commonly less supportive. Fortunately, our Catholic school leaders and staff are highly professional and pastoral and better resourced than ever before. However, our most experienced staff, many of whom were originally members of or were trained by religious orders, are now retiring and need to be replaced. Whilst we are proud of our educational achievements, we must not be complacent. While the resources, goodwill and experience in our schools present tremendous opportunities, there are also many challenges today. Not all of our students have been as well served catechetically or pastorally as they might have been, nor have our schools always been as well supported by families or parishes as they may have wished. As a result, the tremendous potential of Catholic education has not always been fully realised. In order to make the most of our opportunities, it will be important for the whole Catholic community, especially those most intimately involved in Catholic education, to re-examine our situation, central goals and means to those goals. The bishops go on to give an explanation of the Catholic identity of the school. Much has been written in previous church documents and elsewhere on the identity of the Catholic schools, and we need not repeat that here. Put simply, the Catholic school is the principal educational arm of Catholic families, parishes and the wider church for those generally aged under 18. It is there to assist parents and parishes in their educational, evangelical and catechetical mission, as well as to help the wider community in its educational and civic service. It is for this reason that the Church remains committed to ensuring there is a critical mass of Catholic students in our schools, even though we also readily welcome students from other religious backgrounds. We exhort our school leaders to re-examine how they might maximise the enrolment of Catholic students, including those from socio-economic bands and ethnic and special needs groups currently underrepresented in their schools. Parish schools should continue to seek out and give preference to the children of their own parishioners, then to other Catholic children, especially from the surrounding district, then to other Christian children, before offering any additional available places to children of other religious backgrounds. Regional secondary schools and congregational schools should apply similar principles. However, much more is required for a genuinely Catholic school than just a preponderance of students from Catholic families. In Australia, it's essential that our schools are places cultivating a Catholic imagination where prayer and liturgy are supported by a Catholic visual culture, including crucifixes, pictures of Our Lady and the saints. Schools are connected to their local parishes and dioceses through inviting the periodic presence of the bishop, clergy, religious and parents in the school, and through active collaboration with the wider Catholic community. Families and parish support their schools in these important endeavours. Leaders and staff understand they are solidly committed to Catholic education and the Catholic identity of the school. The religious education curriculum is sound, attractive and professionally taught by teachers with appropriate RE qualifications. Other disciplines also consider the Catholic dimension of their subject areas. Schools are Eucharistic communities within the parish context, where as far as possible, students regularly take part in Mass and reconciliation, and schools continue to be places of prayer, including prayer at assemblies, in classes and in other staff and student meetings, and places where practices are encouraged, such as scripture reflections, the Angelus, Eucharistic adoration, and prayerful silences. In Australia, in our schools, there are many students who come from faith backgrounds other than Catholic. These students are made to feel very welcome in our school setting, and it's made clear upon enrolment that expectations that all students participate reverently in religion lessons, prayer life, masses and liturgies. Many teachers would give examples of the sacramental life impacting on students to a point where many students who may not have been Catholic request their families to convert to Catholicism. In this way, the true evangelising power of the Catholic school can be seen at work in its purest form. In many dioceses across Australia, the bishops have a methodology that tries to measure the Catholicity of our schools. In some areas it may be some form of a test or exam that requires students to respond to aspects of the religious education curriculum that they have been exposed to. In the Diocese of Sandhurst, as with the rest of the state of Victoria, an instrument called the Enhancing Catholic Schools Identity Project, EXIP, has been developed. It has been a 10-year-long project in association with the Catholic University in Leuven in Belgium. This project is critical as the drive towards secularisation has become more apparent, with faster rates of globalisation favouring individualisation rather than integration among people. School identity is measured at two levels, the factual level and the normative level. The factual level focuses on the current practice in the school, the way in which the school members perceive and interpret the reality of their school as it unfolds today. The subjective perception by the respondents of the current practice in their school is gained through asking questions such as, my school is a Catholic school. All people in my school believe in God. In my school, religious beliefs are a private matter. At the normative level, My Ideal School talks about the ideal perspectives of the school members regarding their perfect identity of the Catholic school, how the respondents would prefer their school to become in the future. My ideal school is a Catholic school. I'd like to go to a Catholic school where all people believe in God. In my opinion, religious beliefs are a private matter. There are 4 scales that interpret how well the school is ensuring that its Catholic identity is alive and well. The first of those is the post-critical belief scale. The post-critical belief scale assists schools in profiling and measuring the different attitudes towards religious beliefs that exist among their Catholic school community. It measures individuals' beliefs around inclusion versus exclusion of transcendental belief. That is there a belief or a non-belief in God? A literal versus symbolic interpretation of religion, asking what do I need to know? The preferred belief position as stated by Polyphet, the researcher behind this instrument, is based on a faith that it's not literally interpreted but represented symbolically. We relate to God through mediations, rituals, sacraments, prayer, etc. Post-critical belief is characterised by an ongoing process of reinterpretation where an individual is continuously searching for religious significance and meaning but maintaining a strong belief in God. A post-critical belief type is the most fruitful for the development of identity of a Catholic school in a pluralistic society. The second scale is the Melbourne scale. The Melbourne scale is used to measure the theological identity of Catholic institutions. It profiles the characteristics and responses of the institution in a pluralist context. It identifies how the community members perceive the Catholic school responding to its pluralist situation. How do school community members like the school to respond as a Catholic school? What do I need to know? Over the past 60 years, the gap between culture and Christianity has grown, with culture becoming increasingly secularised, detraditionalised and pluralised. Four theological identity options have been identified to be adopted. Institutional reconfessionalisation, which talks about traditional Catholic school practices emphasised, which means it's a school for Catholics, of Catholic and led by Catholic. Institutionalised secularisation parallels the cultural context. The Catholic faith is gradually eroding away. Religion is becoming less relevant and all the Catholic rituals and symbols disappear. Christian values education, an attempt to compromise between culture and Catholic tradition, tries to link generally shared awareness of a good life based on common values to the Catholic faith. And recontextualisation, the renewed profile in and through ongoing dialogue with diverse cultures present in the school. The Catholic faith is held as central and is given preference, and you can see by the dot on the screen is where we would prefer our schools to be. The Victoria Scale. The Victoria Scale explores the ways in which a Catholic school in a multicultural and multi-religious society defines its unique character, its Catholic identity. It exercises solidarity with the wider community in knowing what I need to know. There are 4 types. There's the monologue school, maximum Christian identity and minimum solidarity. Traditional Catholic school that is closed to the outside world, only concerned with Catholic truth. A colourless school has minimal Christian identity and minimal solidarity. A secularised school where religious formation is not its responsibility. It's only concerned with quality education. The colourful school, minimal Christian identity and maximum solidarity. A secularised school with a strong social solidarity. All religions are seen as equally valid, but no preference is given to one, as this may lead to the suppression of all individuals. Maximum Christian dialogue school, a dialogical school. Maximum Christian identity and maximum solidarity. Explicitly emphasises its Catholic inspiration through dialogue with multicultural society. Reprofiling the Catholic school amongst contemporary society. I'd like to draw your attention to where the dot is placed up in terms of a dialogical school. Whilst the model appears to go from top to bottom and around in this shape, I would rather, in conversations, you look at the difference between a monological and a dialogical school, and a colourless and a colourful school. And if you go back to the interpretations and the underpinnings of what these are, this model holds our school in good stead. It's a very simple to understand, complex in nature, scale that you can work with your school staffs with because of the diagrammatic nature. I would put it to you that in my education, this is where I commenced, in a school, a Catholic school, where the catechism was taught and we had to learn the rote answers. There was no other way. When I got to high school, moved to this particular area, no religious curriculum. It was around poems and songs and other ways of learning religion. Then, coming to Catholic education, I never really was in a colourful part of my life, but I'm now very much involved in dialogical schools where we see that the values are placed at the centre, Christ is at the centre, and we take the opportunity to discuss that. If we are to have dialogical schools, we need the hope and the vision that will allow us to achieve this. We need to use our shared Christian praxis approach of faith to life to faith. This methodology is the basis of our diocesan religious education program entitled Source of Life, which is mandated to be taught in every school. Our teachers face a new generation of learners in a world that has changed significantly and quickly. Globalisation, pluralism and new technologies, complex economies and environmental concerns make the future less certain. Whilst relationships remain at the heart of teaching, the pedagogies will continue to shift dramatically. In his recent writings, Evangelii Gaudium, The Joy of the Gospel, in describing the Church, Pope Francis says, "No one is saved by himself or herself, or by his or her own efforts. God attracts us by taking into account the complex interweaving of personal relationships entailed in the life of a human community." Pope Francis is unequivocal in his assurance that fulfilment and dignified life is found in service to others. He also states that we all have not only to evangelise, but to be evangelised. With the increasing secularisation of all of our world, it's critical that we reach out to the poor and the marginalised more than ever if we are to strive for the common good. Our definition of poor and marginalised needs to be broadened to include those who are spiritually poor in attending to the faith. The role of parents as primary educators of their children must remain a priority. They cannot abrogate that responsibility to the school. The school has a critical role more than ever in supporting families in this endeavour. This may include opportunities for families to engage and encounter Jesus in a variety of ways. Using a language that is understood and can be interpreted is critical to success. Our Christian spiritual heritage must remain at the root of all we strive to achieve in Catholic education. We must continue to reach out to all of our families and invite them in so they can understand and support their children in the best way possible. In our country, it is almost as if the school has become the de facto missionary arm of the church. Schools use every opportunity through newsletters, school websites, information evenings and assemblies, among an array of strategies to try and evangelise and show the way through religious leadership. How do we measure the Catholic identity of our school to ensure improvement? In the Sandhurst Charter of School Improvement, there are embedded a school review process where we look for evidence that our schools are engaging fully with the human potential inspired by the Catholic school. We look across all dimensions of school improvement, including Catholic identity, leadership, learning and teaching, pastoral wellbeing and stewardship of resources. Catholic identity is at the heart of all we do in Sandhurst schools. It captures our purpose, our values, our aspirations and our commitment. Our schools are intentionally and not incidentally Catholic, seeking truth, balancing ideals and realities. Together, we explore a contemporary understanding of faith which energises and inspires a deep understanding of ourselves, of life and relationship with God. We are committed to community and to spirituality, to liturgy, ritual and symbolism. We take Jesus and the gospel seriously. There is no part of schooling that is not illuminated by our Catholic faith. The extent to which our staff and students are able to develop and integrate these understandings is significantly dependent upon the capacity of the school to provide the best possible learning environment. We actively seek to inspire students, families and staff through the Catholic story so that they live justly and make a difference in the world in the spirit of Jesus. Our job in Catholic schools is to educate young people, and this needs to be done in a way that provides rich learning opportunities underpinned by the values that will support young people for their future endeavours. Teachers need to be able to provide their students with opportunities to realise the social impact of what they are studying in preparation to have a sense of responsibility around their role as future active and responsible students. Our students need to experience and appreciate and understand some of the quality indicators of Catholic identity, including being just, inclusive, sacramental, life-giving and faithful. To be a high-performing and successful quality Catholic school system, the attention to the pedagogical approach is critical. Our young people learn in a variety of ways, including entering school digitally literate. As educators, we must ensure that we engage our learners in rich and varied learning opportunities that will prepare them for a world where we are still unsure of what the jobs will look like. In our Australian schools, we've been challenged by changing structures from traditional style classrooms into contemporary learning spaces that actively allow the facilitation of good learning to occur. The students seem far more comfortable with it than some of our older teachers. Our students are flexible, adaptable and resilient. Whilst these attributes are profound, we must never take for granted our overall intention around providing quality Catholic education. Regardless of the environment, it's ultimately the relationship the teacher and student have that will make the difference. If the student feels supported and can learn in a safe and supportive environment, we know the opportunity for successes will be exponentially increased. The teacher is no longer seen as the font of all knowledge. Contemporary practice encourages our students to learn at a pace and in a place that enables them to be action researchers, to be metacognitive in their approach. We want students to be curious and to be problem solvers. We want our students to be socially adjusted in an environment that allows their creativity to be stimulated and for them to feel a genuine sense of belonging. Getting the balance right of providing a curriculum that is relevant and delivered in an authentic environment is proving difficult for some. Most schools have developed a culture of professional learning communities where teachers meet to plan their approach as well as reflect upon their practice and results. When undertaken in a supportive way, the PLC structures can truly enhance the quality of the teaching practice. Educating parents around new ways of learning has been problematic in a number of school settings. Parents expect school to be like it was when they went there. Seeing students lying on the floor working, sitting in glass cubicles writing on glass walls, and lack of desks in rows are just some of the things that some parents are confronted by. Schools try to focus on the positives of this and put their energies into student achievement and happiness. All parents want their children to be safe, happy, and to learn in the best environment possible. We are amidst generational change in schooling, and like all change, this takes time. A major ongoing issue for a number of our schools is how to effectively integrate digital technologies into learning experiences. With the advent of social media, both positive and negative attitudes and behaviours prevail in our schools. Whilst we are well advanced in our work in this area, there is still a long way to go. Unfortunately, practice sometimes outstrips policy, and this makes life very difficult for administrators. So what lessons have we learned? We've learned not to take our Catholic heritage for granted, that we need to be attentive to our Catholic identity, that we need to remain guided by and committed to our vision and mission. We need to carefully steward our resources. We need to stay strong in the face of adversity. We need to remain optimistic, and we need to celebrate success. Making sure that our teaching is relevant to the students and that contemporary methodologies are applied to ensure that students are as well prepared as possible for their life post-school. If both the information and environment are optimal, then conditions for success have to be much improved. We need to be increasingly vigilant as to our status as authentic Catholic schools and of all the responsibilities that this brings with it. We need to be discerning and attentive to ensuring that our principals and teachers are first and foremost religious leaders. They need to be far more than just educational or instructional leaders. We must monitor and progress constantly to reflect our practice. We need to be courageous in challenging and naming behaviours or practices that do not actively promote all we strive to achieve in the name of quality Catholic education. We need to do all that is possible to keep a system of schools united in belief and cause. We can then draw strength from one another, particularly when the times get tough. We also need to create an environment where being a Catholic school teacher is seen and believed to be a wonderfully rich vocation in life. It's far more than just being a job. When approached with positive intent and enacted with passion, it will give amazing rewards that will enable and encourage any person. We need to ensure that we promote our vocation in a way that allows society to rightfully respect the role of the teacher. It is achievable, but it's also challenging. To elevate the status of teachers in the Sandhurst diocese, our Bishop Leslie Tomlinson has appointed an Episcopal Vicar for Education, the Very Reverend Dr. Brian Boyle. Father Brian works closely between the Diocesan Chancery and the Catholic Education Office in supporting the promotion of quality Catholic education across the diocese. I hope that in some way our time together today has given some insight into our Catholic education system in the Diocese of Sandhurst in Australia. We stand on the shoulders of those who have gone before us. We proudly carry on their legacy of the rich historical story that is Catholic education in our country. We have so much to be thankful for and so much to celebrate. More importantly, through fervent prayer and blessings, we need to be attentive to both where we are and where we want to be. As custodians in a piece of history, it is beholden upon us to leave our Catholic education system in the best possible place for those who are to follow us. Thank you for your time today. Thank you for allowing me the privilege of sharing our journey with you. It would be our greatest honour to be of any assistance to you as a Council of Catholic Schools in your journey ahead. Thank you.
หลังจากเข้า AEC มา8เดือนยังมึนไหมครับมึนนะครับกองเลขาได้แจกเอกสารแปลไว้เรียบร้อยแล้วใช่ไหมครับใครที่ยังไม่ได้เนี่ยก็หาได้นะครับทีนี้บรรทัดสุดท้ายสำคัญมากบรรทัดสุดท้ายคือลิงก์ไปที่เว็บไซต์ของสภานะครับเว็บไซต์ของสภาเนี่ยผมใช้เวลามากเลยในการรีเสิร์ชคำแต่ละคำงั้นเป็นเทคนิคเทอมหมดนะครับโดยเฉพาะยิ่งตรงมาตรวัดอัตลักษณ์การศึกษาคาทอลิกเขาทำโครงการ10 ปีเต็มนะครับของสังคมณฑลรัฐวิกตอเรียมาร่วมกันหมดทั้งสังคมณฑลในเขตรัฐนะฮะหลายสังคมณฑลร่วมกับมหาลัยเลอแวง10 ปีทำโมเดลออกมา3 ตัวที่น่าสนใจที่สุดนะครับคืออยากให้ท่านเนี่ยไปคลิกอ่านฉะนั้นถ้าท่านเข้าเว็บไซต์เนี่ยท่านไม่ต้องลอกอะไรท่านแค่คลิกปุ๊บมันก็วิ่งไปเว็บไซต์ผมได้ลิงก์ไว้เรียบร้อยแล้วนะครับอย่างโรงเรียนที่อยากสรุปแล้วก็มันอะไรที่เราทำได้อะแล้วก็ไม่ยากเว็บไอ้มาร์กตัวสุดท้ายเนี่ยวิกตอเรียมาร์กเนี่ยหรือสเกลเนี่ยมาตรฐานของวิกตอเรียถ้าอัตลักษณ์การศึกษาคาทอลิกอัตลักษณ์คาทอลิกน้อยสุดความเป็นน้ำหนึ่งใจเดียวน้อยสุดเราได้โรงเรียนไร้สีสันนะถ้าอัตลักษณ์คาทอลิกน้อยสุดแต่โอเคน้ำหนึ่งใจเดียวมากสุดเราได้โรงเรียนสีสันก็ยังชั่วหน่อยนะแล้วก็ได้โรงเรียนถ้าอัตลักษณ์การศึกษามากสุดแต่ความเป็นน้ำหนึ่งใจเดียวน้อยสุดเราได้โรงเรียนบทพูดเดียวนะ monologue school หลายโรงเรียนยัง monologue คือถ้าคือเป็น traditional ไม่สนใจแล้วก็สอนอย่างนี้นะแต่ที่เราปรารถนาเนี่ยผมคิดว่าไอ้ตรงไอ้มาตรฐานของวิกตอเรียดีมากแล้วเข้าใจได้ง่ายถ้าอัตลักษณ์สูงสุดน้ำหนึ่งใจเดียวสูงสุดเราได้โรงเรียนเสวนา Dialogue School โรงเรียนที่เน้นย้ำแรงบันดาลใจคาทอลิกอย่างชัดเจนโดยการเสวนากับสังคมพหุวัฒนธรรมแล้วก็ทำความเข้าใจความเชื่อคาทอลิกท่ามกลางสังคมร่วมสมัยผมอยากให้ท่านซึ่งมีความเป็นนักปราชญ์อยู่บ้างนะครับรู้ว่าการโครงการแลกเปลี่ยนกับเลอแวงเนี่ยสำคัญมากเพราะเขาตอบโจทย์อันหนึ่งคือโจทย์ที่ท่านพระคุณเจ้าเก่งศักดิ์ขึ้นคือ secularism หรือโลกียนิยมคือถือว่าโลกนี้ secular แปลว่า temporalism secularism คือ temporalism โลกนี้เท่านั้นมีอยู่จริงไม่มีสวรรค์โลกิยนิยมตรงข้ามกับโลกุตระฉะนั้นอันเนี้ยท่าน มันเป็นพื้นฐานจริงๆของอัตลักษณ์การสารคาทอลิกที่ต้องต่อสู้กับโลกที่พระเยซูเจ้าบอกฉะนั้นเราได้คำใหม่ๆเช่นระบบแคทอลิกเรื่องราวแคทอลิกการรู้แคทอลิกลิเทเรซีเราได้สุขภาวะด้านอภิบาลนะครับเรามีหลักการที่โดนใจเช่นการที่โรงเรียนต้องมีอัตลักษณ์แคทอลิกก็เท่ากับว่าโรงเรียนเป็นโรงเรียนที่ดีถ้าเราเชื่อมั่นนะโรงเรียนที่เป็นอัตลักษณ์แคทอลิกในตัวมันเองเราได้โรงเรียนที่ดีโรงเรียนแคทอลิกต้องเป็นมากกว่าโรงเรียนที่ดีหรือมีคุณค่าที่ดีเพราะโรงเรียนอื่นๆเขาก็เป็นโรงเรียนที่ดีและมีคุณค่าที่ดีอะไรทำให้เราเป็นแคทอลิกนะครับเราได้นโยบายที่น่าสนใจคือการรับเข้าโรงเรียนแคทอลิกและผู้ด้อยโอกาสนะครับการช่วยเหลือเด็กที่มีความต้องการพิเศษเด็กพิการเด็กออทิสติกอย่างที่เราได้ยินแล้วก็ชนพื้นถิ่นกับเด็กที่ชายขอบอยู่ชายขอบนะครับเราได้วิธีปฏิบัติที่เป็นรูปธรรมการรับรองมาตรฐานโรงเรียนครูที่จะสอนในโรงเรียนแคทอลิกสภาสังฆราชได้ตั้งมาตรฐานการเป็น insurance นะครับฉะนั้นต้องมีการประกันคุณภาพครูทุกคนที่จะเข้าสอนในโรงเรียนแคทอลิกและก็มีประกันคุณภาพครูที่จะเป็นผู้สอนเขาใช้คำว่าศาสนศึกษาก็คือว่าreligious study แต่ผมถามแล้วคำว่า religious education เนี่ยมันเป็นตัว catechism รวมไปแล้วเขาไม่แยกว่าเป็นคริสตศาสนากับคำสอนเขารวมคำสอนแคทอลิกเนี่ยเข้าไปในคริสตศาสนาได้เลยเป็นวิชาเดียวและเด็กทุกคนถ้าเราฟังหรือท่านอ่านชีทภาษาไทยตามนะก็คือว่าเด็กทุกคนที่เข้ามาโรงเรียนเนี่ยผู้ปกครองต้องเซ็นรับทราบว่านโยบายโรงเรียนคือ1นักเรียนทุกคนไม่ว่าเป็นโปรเตสแตนต์เป็นอะไรจะต้องร่วมในชีวิตภาวนาของเรียนชีวิตภาวนาซึ่งดื่มด่ำแล้วก็เต็มไปหมดเลยนะครับเรากำลังเยี่ยมห้องเรียนเนี่ยเด็กยืนขึ้นสวดพรหมถือสารเราอายครับบางทีเราลืมสวดพรหมถือสารเที่ยงปั๊บเด็กทั้งเรียนยืนขึ้นสวดพรหมถือสาร The Angelus นะครับเหล่านี้เป็นต้นคือชีวิตภาวนาพวกเนี้ยเขาทำแล้วก็ทุกคนที่เข้ามาก็รับรองแน่นอนเราปฏิบัติตามไม่ได้นะครับแต่เราเข้าใจแล้วก็ดูความเร่าร้อนของเขาในการทำโรงเรียนที่ให้เป็นโรงเรียนเสวนาเนี่ยเขาทำอย่างไรมีมาตรฐานชี้วัดอื่นๆที่ก็เช่น post crisis faith เป็นอะไรนะครับท่านติดตามอ่านเพราะว่าจะเป็นอะไรที่ทำให้เราเข้าใจอัตลักษณ์การสารคาทอลิกมากขึ้นนะครับ Thank you Michael for your fascinating exposition of our Catholic heritage. Congratulations to the Diocese of Sandhurst for your endeavor and we look forward to collaborating with you. Thank you very much. I humbly invite His Eminence Louis Damien to present the speaker token of appreciation from all of us. Your Eminence.